Translation: O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? Purport: an expert physician treats his patient with a therapeutic diet. For example, milk preparations sometimes cause disorder of the bowels, but the very same milk converted into curd and mixed with some other remedial ingredients cures such disorders. Similarly, the threefold miseries of material existence cannot be mitigated simply by material activities. Such activities have to be spiritualized. Just as by fire, iron is made red hot, and thereby the action of fire begins. Similarly, the material conception of a thing is at once changed as soon as it's put into the service of the Lord. That is the secret of spiritual success. We should not try to lord it over the material nature, nor should we reject material things. The best way to make the best use of a bad bargain is to use everything in relation with the Supreme Spiritual Being. Everything is an emanation from the Supreme Spirit, and by His inconceivable power, He can convert spirit into matter and matter into spirit. Therefore, a material thing, so-called, is at once turned into a spiritual force by the great will of the Lord. The necessary condition for such a change is to employ so-called matter in the service of the spirit. That is the way to treat our material diseases and elevate ourselves to the spiritual plane where there is no misery, no lamentation, and no fear. When everything is thus employed in the service of the Lord, we can experience that there is nothing except the Supreme Brahman. The Vedic mantra that everything is Brahman is thus realized by us. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatadine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Just again the translation, the verse translation, verse and translation. Āmayo yascha bhūtānāṁ jāyate yena suvrata tadeva āmayaṁ dravyaṁ na punāti cikitsitam. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? In this material world, we have forces acting on us. Some we can see, some we cannot see. What we can see, we term as gross. What we cannot is subtle. People normally live on sensual level. It maybe wouldn't be like that in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga. But right now, people are on a sensual level. What feels good, we'll do that. Where do you want to live? Where it's hot or where it's cold? What people like. And what am I going to study? I'll study this so I get more money, so I can get a job and good pay, so I can enjoy senses. Senses. Everything is on sensual level, mostly. This is a very gross, ignorant way of living, because it doesn't take into account a lot of things which are acting on us. A lot of other things we should consider. We are not considering. When we decide, make decisions, what to eat, what to do, where to go, how to do things. Practically speaking, people are blind to so many things which are affecting us at every second. And that's because people decide to reject Shabda Brahma, because they'll never see these things. We cannot see many things which are acting on us day to day life. This creation has subtle laws which are acting. So these subtle laws we cannot see, but we have to be informed that if you do this, this effect happens, these effects are happening. Even materially, let alone spiritually. Materially, there is a very deep science about subtle laws that are affecting us. And we cannot say, because I cannot see them, I'm not going to believe them. We give example of so many things that we cannot see, which are act. For example, if I come in another country, I can't see the laws. but the laws are there, they're being enforced. I can't even see the government, but the forces, the agents are there. If I do something wrong, I'll get punished. But we cannot see, but it's there. So, for example, we are under stellar influences. Stellar means star. We are under the stars. According to our actions in the past life, we will be made to be born by certain forces at a certain time. And time means, at that time, certain planets are dominating, they take control of our life. And so at the time someone's born, we can predict what they'll go through. Their character, body, everything, almost everything. Even Varna, to some extent, it can be determined because those stars are governing. Nakshatra says it's according to, we have been mounted on a wheel of time. Once some member of my family, who's not a devotee, I was saying, no, I have timings for waking up, sleeping and all that. And so he said, I want to meet, let's meet. I said, okay, what time? This time. This time I'm reading, this time I'm sleeping. He said, any time. I'm not a slave of time. Okay, then stop the old age, stop the death. We are slave of time, actually. And in due course of time, our karma will come to us. Any astrologer can tell you, this and this time, then we are under these dashas. I don't know if you know what these things are. Antardasha, Mahadasha, we are under dashas. At certain times in our life, certain planets, and they can predict, okay, this planet is taking charge of you now, this will be your life. Like, we are under time. We are under laws. We cannot see them. Western sense of time, what's today's date? 10th March, Thursday, that's it. But the Vedic system, today is Trayodashi. Okay, we have Yoga, Karan, Tithi, then we have Var. According to day, then according to this time, if you put this time, certain planet is ruling, certain Tithi, and Tithi, on this Tithi you can do this, you can war, treatment, there's even a Tithi for speaking to your boss, for good effects, if you have a boss. So, this is different concept of time completely. Any given point, you can see the forces acting. And so at certain times, someone won't travel, won't leave the house, will refuse to give money even. So what, were they less intelligent? Oh, imaginary things. Till today, we find, for example, businesses, Indian businesses, money, things are conducted under these things. And they, I don't know, we can say are quite successful materially in this world. They even government, they want to open a building, they opened the building, they did Bhumi Puja, then they did opening of the parliament. Everyone was complaining, secular nation. But people understand that laws are acting on us. According to time, according to place also, laws act or not act. If you go to a certain holy place, there's an effect. If we go, like it says, even in the Chanakya, actually when we speak about Chanakya Pandit, he took his knowledge from the Vedas. Don't go anywhere where there is no river, there is no holy, pious people, brahmanas, and they gave there's a long list. So we are under these influences. You cannot see them. You will not see them, definitely. You cannot see these influences. So we'll refuse to accept. No, they are affecting us. And even when we talk about, for example, when we are practicing devotional service, we will not speak about it. We are talking about bhakti. But we should understand, until we are not fully self-realized, we are under these forces. They are governing us. When you become self-realized, they are not. Sagunan samatityitan. Then you become transcendental. Until then, no, it's not. So there are many things acting on us. huge influence are guna. Where are the gunas? I can't see them. Where's tamogun? Where is it? For that matter, we keep repeating the same thing. We never saw corona, we never saw atoms, we never saw many things. But the gunas are there. They're there. And depending on actions we do, we associate with certain gunas. We have to learn. It's a great art to learn how to live in this world with consideration of gunas. When we were studying Bhakti Shastra, I remember I was studying, our teacher told us, you have to develop this Shastra Chakshu, see through Shastra. You know, the tendency, a Brahmana will do that. Otherwise, the tendency is where to eat, where to go, what to do, is depending on our senses. It must be through Shastra. Another saying by Chanakya Pandit, I won't pretend to know all of it, but it's something like cow sees through the nose. Ordinary people see through eyes. And then there's one more, but then the main one, Brahmana sees through Shastra. Now, how does a cow identify the master? He'll smell. Anyone comes first, he'll smell. Who's this? No? A normal person hears a sound, he with the eyes looks. But a Brahmana sees through Shastra. In other words, Shastra saying this and this, according to that, we'll act. So, we have to understand about modes. There may be things we don't like or whatever, but according to Shastra, this is what we should do, this is what should happen at this time. So, we'll follow. Because Shastra is saying. Prabhupada gives example of this, introduces us. Some of us maybe have no concept of these things, but Bhagavad Gita purports of Prabhupada introduces us, even the verses. So that Mata Sparshas tu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkada, that verse in the purport, Prabhupada writes, we have to tolerate, do our duty in all circumstances. Shita, Ushna, summer, winter. Prabhupada writes that in summer it's very hard to enter the kitchen, especially if there's a fire burning and there's hot food and you're sweating and it's closed and you can't put a fan on in the kitchen. Fire will go out. It's very difficult. Still, the woman has to go and cook. And whoever takes a bath, we may say in the morning it's very cold, we can't take a bath. The water is too cold. No, we have to. That's dharma. We have to freshen up. Otherwise, how will we perform Mangalarti, Sandhyavandana? How will we, come to a level of sattva guna? You have to take a bath. If you go to Kumbh Mela, it's very cold in January, North Indian winter. So I went. It was so cold, but we had to take a bath until we came to the point of putting mustard oil before bathing because we were getting affected very badly. We cannot see the tap because of the mist. That's cold. We come out of the tent. We can't see the tap because we can't see there because of the mist. Now you have to take a bath in that cold weather with cold water. Where's the hot water? Where's the fire? So in that situation, we are thinking, we're waiting when we put the first month. We're waiting, trying to preach to the mind. And next Thursday, we're seeing one old man. He's chanting some bhajan and taking bath like it's a hot noon. Taking bath, chanting some shlokas. We understood this person is definition of transcendental. There's even an anecdote of Srila Prabhupada. When he found out that people were not taking bath in the morning in Kumbh Mela, same Kumbh Mela, so they were not taking bath, so then they were not coming for the program or they were delaying, waited till afternoon. So one morning Prabhupada came out at 4 a.m. and took a bath in that cold water. Everyone was, Prabhupada is taking a bath. And everyone came out and watched. 4 a.m. Not hot water, that same water. So Prabhupada was showing us. So one has to perform the activities regardless. And one has to develop that vision of the gunas and the material energy and understand. Now, especially if you're a devotee going through this material world, it's full of contamination. It's full of contamination. We have to recognize and know what to do, what not to do. Otherwise, we get affected. And if the more we read about bhakti and its rarity, what is that? It says, Janmakoti Sukriti na labhyate. After many births we come to bhakti, and it's such a great thing. Rupa Goswami explains, how does it start? Kriyatam Katopi labhyate. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavamati. This shloka and that first line is what Prabhupada took to make that word, Krishna consciousness. He took from this shloka. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavamati. Kriyatam Yat Kutopi labhyate. Tatalolyam himulyam ekalam janmakoti sukriti na labhyate. That Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavamati, in other words, Krishna consciousness. If you see it anyway, just take it. This analogy is being used like when we want to buy something, we go in the shop and see it. Then we say, okay, take your time, decide whether I want it or not, and find it cheaper. Ask, check online, check other shops, ask your friend. Don't buy it whimsically. Why? Because you'll be cheated, you may pay more, there may be better product. But here it's saying, if you see it anyway, take it, just take it. What's the price? Greed to get it is the price. How will you get it? When you have a great desire to get it. We have to desire it. Because what we desire, we get. Paramatma is inside. You know, that Mukunda Datta Prabhu told that story once in Shravan Kirtan camp. You know that farmer story? Yeah? Going to America. Farmer being born in America. You know that story? Okay, briefly. Farmer decided to go to American farm. So he decided, he tried, then he went to astrologer. Astrologer said, yes, next life you're born as a farmer in America. No, in a farming family. They'll carry you everywhere, they'll feed you, they'll bathe you. And he's thinking, why? They're bathing me, feeding me. He said, you'll be born as a dog in a farming family in the next life. So immediately he said the story. Then he started shouting in the mic, Krishna knows everything. Why are you in Iskcon? To eat. At that time we were all thinking, when will the lecture be over? I want to have lunch. There it goes. Oh my God. He speaks the thing exactly. Why are you in Iskcon? Did you come for money? Did you come for position? You came to eat good food. Krishna knows. You'll fool everyone. Krishna is in there. He's seeing. He knows. And accordingly we'll get the result. So that was his point. So the point is, inside there is Sarva Sakshiman. The all-seeing Krishna is inside. So what we want, we'll get. So therefore, Tatta Lolyam Himulyam Ekalam, that if we sincerely actually desire, we get Krishna conscious. If we don't, we'll not get. The plan is, we have to desire. Awaken the desire to get it. So Tatta Lolyam Himulyam Ekalam, Janma Koti Sukriti na labhyate. Then it said that if you see it, take it immediately. What is the price? Greed to obtain it. Why should that be my mood? Because this is something after many births you'll come across. You'll somehow come across it. Everything else you'll get. This sense enjoyment you'll get. Sense enjoyment every birth you'll get. Father, mother, opportunity to enjoy senses. This will come. But we will not get Krishna consciousness so easily. You have to be born at a certain time, at a place, and so this is something very valuable. One has to properly learn in this world to live in such a way that we attain it. So we have to see guna, modes. One person from Padayatra explained, he told me, they travel and every day they'll stop in a school. Best place is a school, he said, but it can be a house somewhere where a large number of them can sleep and utilize water and toilets and all that. So then I said, but how do you, sometimes the tap is in a dirty place. You want to cook? He said, we have to just find a good water source, a river, a tap. So I said, we have our standards. Don't spit, don't wash your feet. Then we use water for deities. But they're carrying Gaura Nitai deities. How will you get clean water? He says, what we do is, we put a pipe in the tap, then the water comes out there, then the guna changes. Otherwise, this place is contaminated, the water comes out there, then the water takes on that guna of the place. But he said we take it out there. It's expert. So one has to get this vision. So we don't know this, but we're talking about effect on us. According to Bhagavad Gita, every action we do has effect. Every action, every thought alters our subtle body. Subtle body is affected. In other words, next life. You're building your next body. Every action in this life, what I'm doing, thinking, it's being recorded, even though we can't see. Who's seeing? Paramatma is seeing. Bhagavad Gita says, Upadrishta, the overseer, the Paramatma is seeing everything. So every action affects us. When we study Shastra, we understand. I mentioned things which are affecting us. So this is a major part, the guna. Gunas affect. And so then we are taught how to live in this world. We have to be expert. A devotee has 26 qualities. One of them is daksha, expert. We have to become expert in manipulating, living in this world which is full of maya, contamination and guna. We have to live in such a way, don't become affected by it. At the same time, this verse is saying, we have to learn to use it for Krishna's service. Don't be affected. One karmi analogy, we have to use these because this is what I know, but we have to change them now. That you have to fish without getting wet. Better not to fish, definitely. There's a saying in English that you have to do something but don't be affected. So we are in this world of contamination and we have to do our business but don't get contaminated. How? Learn Bhagavad Gita. Learn to see the mode. Learn what is sattvic, what is tamasic and all this, and learn how to use different things, yukta vairagya. The modes have such a big effect on us that we can get contaminated, our mind can change without us knowing. Gradually, mind can change. So, therefore we have system of sadhana, we have system of association of devotees, which is very important. The devotee will tell, Prabhu, what's wrong with you? Why are you behaving like this? Why are you doing this? And we'll not see. What do we use to judge in our body, in our form? What do we use to judge, to live our life? What part of our form, body, do we use to judge what is good or bad, what shall I do? We use our intelligence. So intelligence is affected. Intelligence has guna. Now how will you judge that I'm going to use my intelligence to come out of guna? And guna is right there. Okay, don't worry, we'll help you. We'll sort it out. Intelligence is affected. So that's our predicament. So we have to go to pure sources like Shastra, Guru, Sadhu. So depending on actions we do, certain gunas affect us. Now we are told, that there are 4 activities which heavily influence us with guna, we should avoid at all cost. We know meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. These things completely alter consciousness and infect us with guna so much it cannot do bhakti. It's hard, very hard. Therefore, we are taught that these things we should avoid. And these are the main things, but so many things are there to avoid. For example, people who are too much in modes, we have to avoid. Or people who are breaking these things, we avoid because, as it says, tamodvaram yoshitam sangi sangam. So devotees are taught to live in this world like this, and they see these things. Other people who don't have this vision get confused. What is wrong with you? Why don't you eat this food? It's cooked by vegetarian, it's pure veg, eat it. No, it's not prasadam. Prasad. Why? Where does prasad come in? So now it's a big problem, even within Iskcon, people are thinking, because you see, you cannot see prasad, but I can see meat and vegetarian, So there are people who say in Iskcon, initiated, that we'll take food, it's cooked by vegetarian, it's okay. Jain food, you can have on the plane, that's fine. Of course, sometimes you have to, that's a different thing. Students, some business people. But to make it a policy that it is okay, that's different. It's not okay. Because it affects you. It will affect us. But you cannot see, but that's not the point. And so people have to learn this point, that there are things which affect, but you cannot see. Ghosts. That you'll agree. Some people will agree. They affect. Even there are subtle laws, I heard, even before coming to Iskcon, that, for example, regarding food, that I had a friend and someone else invited me to a meal. So I told, my friend said, I'll show you the way. So he showed me the way to that person's house. We were chatting. We reached the house. I told him, you also come. And that friend was waiting. He said, no, I'll not. I said, why not? This person doesn't like me. I said, doesn't matter, you just come in, just eat and we'll talk and go. He said, no. And he said some saying in Gujarati, which I can't remember, that if someone doesn't like you, you should not eat their food. It will cause disease. Some subtle laws. It must have come from some part of some sayings there. So that is a point also. If someone doesn't, and if you eat food of someone, you become attached and obligated to them. So that's taught that women who are young, before marriage, before even puberty, Prabhupada explained, they cook for their husband. They get married age 7, 8, sometimes 5 or 6. You see little kid, some ceremonies happening, they're sitting. Actually they're married, but the marriage won't happen until they're physically ready. But when she's ready, 9, 8, 10, she starts cooking. And then the attachment comes when you eat food of someone, you get attached to them. And Iskcon knows this. Come for prasad. So that's a fact Prabhupada uses in our Iskcon. Just take prasad. Don't leave without taking prasad. So you don't like philosophy, okay, take prasad. So it's a subtle law, it's used. And therefore some people won't even take food if they don't like someone or they don't, these things are. So anyway, these are subtle laws. Now we're talking about other things, it's on spiritual level also. You see people in this world act whimsically, but devotees are taught, no, our actions should be very, very careful because we are getting contaminated, or the modes will affect our bhakti. So we have to learn everything. And we have to be expert to live in this world. Daksha, I mentioned. We have to be expert to live and to go into a place, materials are there, they're eating, I won't eat, or I'll eat. Or we take milk or fruit, but not cut fruit. Accordingly, we have to be expert like that. And sometime in extreme case, we have to take, you pray to Krishna, protect, So that's regarding food. Then dealings with women, because the most powerful force binding us to this material world is the sex attraction. Therefore it's called maithunya agaraha. Sex jail, something. Jail, which the binding chains are this desire for women. So one has to live accordingly like that. And every single action we do in this world is recorded in our subtle body. Everything. We sometimes, due to ignorance, karmis or new devotees, they may think, okay, no one is here. Now I can sin. It's night. No one can see. I can sin. I can eat whatever I want to or do what I want. But then we are taught in Shastra, Bhagavatam, everyone is looking. Vayu is looking. Chandra, Surya, Paramatma, everyone is looking. And records are made in our subtle body. These records are there. Again, you cannot see, you cannot know it's there. The records are there. And therefore, this determines our next birth and next body. By the time we reach the end of our life, Prabhupada says in a lecture, death does not come till the next body is ready. When death comes, you can understand the next body is ready. So, this we have to understood. People understood this before. They understood that every action I do, there will be a reaction. They may not have been devotees, but the whole idea of prayashchit was there. And we were discussing yesterday, most of the Vedas consist of this, how to, Triguna Vishaya Ved, how to become atone for different sins, which yajna, which vrata, what to do on this particular day, that day, give this much money to this person, donation, whatever, and become free from that. Actually, strictly speaking, we cannot become free from it per se. The reaction is delayed. You cannot, only bhakti can do that. So prayashchit relieves you for that time of the sin. But there's a problem, because we are still in avidya. Avidya means ignorance. Due to avidya we sin. We have kut. Tendency to sin comes because of ignorance of my connection to Krishna and that I am his eternal servant. Due to that ignorance, we sin. Yeah, we sin. Sin means, even, what is sin? Like what, I'm eating something without offering, that's a sin. Maybe even vegetarian. But people don't know that. They have their worldly definition of sin is different. And one who is a devotee, that's the proper definition. That the greatest sin is not worshipping God. That's a great sin. What is the point? So, how to relieve this? This is prayashchit. But it's not a permanent solution, as we know, because we'll do it again. The solution is to come out of avidya, to spiritualize. Now, how to do that? Bhagavad Gita explains in one verse, Krishna explains, that if someone is too much really engrossed, don't confuse him. Just make him be in his position, gradually elevate. Actually, that's the same for all of us. Now, when we first come to Iskcon, what do? Okay, can you just do some seva? But some overzealous preachers, 4 eggs, don't eat meat, don't do this, don't do that, and then become disturbed. But actually what we do is tell someone, okay, please, can you bring this, can you do that, clean the floor, wash the pot. Actually, what's happening here? We're getting purified because we are doing something connecting to Krishna through actions. So that is an expert way of liberating someone. Now a preacher, one thing is we become expert to purify us, but we have to become expert to preach to people. We have to know when to say what to do, how to engage them according to their psychophysical nature and all these things. These things we have to do. So now look at this verse today. Here Narad Muni is saying, O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease which was caused by that very same thing? Here the idea is that, you see, the small boy, Narad Muni as a small boy, he was engaged to serve these personalities. Prabhupada called them the Bhakti Vedantas. They externally looked like material actions, but they were purifying. Cleaning the floor, making the puja plate, washing the pots. We are getting purified. Same thing if you do at home, it's not. It's not. In a temple you come, and then temple is a house of God. They're saying in English. They call church house of God. That means there's a person living in the house. But they don't accept the person. They say church is a house of God. Anyway, so now you come and clean his floor, cook his food. In ashram life, everything is purifying. Practically you're purifying everything you do. I see some dirt, I pick it up. This is bhakti. It's a temple. Everything is purifying. It's so powerful. Just to be there, And therefore this Srila Prabhupada's idea, setting up centers everywhere, people coming, serving. This principle is being applied. And Prabhupada says here, an expert physician treats his patient with a therapeutic diet. He gives an example of milk and curd, very common example. What do you add in the curd? Huh?
You make it curd?
No. See, you drink a lot of milk. Well, not milk. Let's be, realistic. In Iskcon, we end up having a lot of sweet rice or rabdi, okay, in a feast and get sick. So how do you cure that? Mishti dahi. Huh? Yeah, that can be. He said, it said in another place, black pepper and salt, I don't know, and curd. Yeah, I'll want to add sugar also. So now, such activities become spiritualized. Just as fire, iron is made red hot and thereby action of fire begins. Same activity. So now, we have to understand action. Things are affecting us. We understand in subtle nature, many things affect us. We have to understand that an action we do can give a different effect depending on our consciousness. Who is it for? Externally it looks the same. But for the Lord everything is spirit. For us there is matter and spirit. What is matter? That's our problem, that we are seeing something separate from Krishna. So we should connect everything to Krishna. Then we become spiritualized, and that thing becomes spiritualized. Therefore, a material thing, so-called, is at once turned into spiritual force by the great will of the Lord. And Krishna is so powerful, he can turn matter to spirit, spirit to matter. We can know from this Sakshi Gopal pastime. Deity can walk. Anything can be turned at a whim. Things can be converted and changed, and therefore it won't affect us. So that depends on us. We have to become expert. We have to recognize what spiritualizes, what will bind us, and then in this world we have to live and utilize things for Krishna. For us, for other people also. For others who we bring in, we have to explain them how to utilize things in their possession for spiritualizing it and therefore becoming liberated. So what is the condition for this to happen? The necessary condition for such a change is to employ the so-called matter. It's saying here so-called, because it's not matter. Everything emanating from Krishna is part of his energy. But for us, because we are making distinction for our enjoyment, then it's matter. So by employing it in the service of the spirit, it changes its condition. That is the way to treat our material disease and elevate ourselves to the spiritual plane where there is no misery, no lamentation, no fear. When everything is employed in the service of the Lord, we can experience there is nothing except Supreme Brahman. So that in Iskcon, that way is come, that whatever we have is being used in the service of Krishna. So then everything is, it says here, the Vedic mantra that everything is Brahman is thus realized. What is that mantra? Sarvam Khalva, that's what comes to my mind. There may be others. Sarvam Khalva Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So a devotee will only see that. Will see Krishna everywhere, Krishna's energy. So now that's a high level. But for our level, we have to also first come on this level of coming to Sattva-guna. Seeing and understanding that things affect us. We have Suchi-Muchi principles. So we follow these principles, we understand they're affecting us, but I cannot see it. It does not matter what you see or not. With these eyes, what will you see? Ordinary people see through eye. This is Brahmana sees through Shastra. Through Shastra I understand that if I eat this food, I get contaminated. If I do this, I get contaminated. This liberates me. Shastra says, follow it. In villages, till now, they'll be cleaning with this cow dung. The front part of the house, and very, very auspicious. It's highly sattvic. It wards off mosquitoes, that's one thing. But cow urine and cow dung makes a place sattvic like anything. We understand that through Shastra, then we do it. So one has to become expert to see that, and therefore will be able to come free from this binding force. Although nothing can be seen, neither the binding force nor the liberating force. So at some point you have to accept Shastra. Otherwise this cannot happen. So here the whole discussion, and then again a similar verse comes in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The whole idea about here is karma yoga. Karma. Karma in Vedic sense means action according to Shastra, prescribed duties. You want to enjoy, but enjoy in this way. You take up this varna, enjoy and do your fit into the society. This is a pious way to enjoy, and do your duties. That way you enjoy and get elevated, but you get binded. But if you, in the consciousness that I will do the action of my prescribed duty, but for Krishna, the consciousness is important, then it's liberating. That action will liberate you. It's not for me, it's for Krishna. Which means the fruits are engaged in Krishna's service. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yeah? Yeah.
Like this is the law of karma and binders.
Yes.
So I had one question that Prahlad Maharaj says in his teachings that we should not endeavor for sense gratification, because just like distress it comes automatically, so material happiness that also comes automatically.
Yeah.
So Prabhu, like the happiness and distress one is supposed to be given in his lifetime. Like, is it fixed? It's like no matter how much you work hard, you are going to get what you are like destined to get anyway. Or can you like increase or decrease it? How does it work?
For this one has to think little deeply, because I'll tell you things to consider. Jayadvaita Maharaj said that, not happiness, sadness, but events are predestined. It says like one will get married and then the first wife will divorce or die and the second one. And it also says certain nakshatras, it says your wife will be sick. You'll be serving a sick one. And those who know and check that, and they'll not marry. So events are fixed. Regarding happiness, sadness, once there's a seminar called Hopes and Horrors of Household Life by Jayadvaita Maharaj. There he says, so women should do their duty. He speaks on this topic. Then a woman puts up her hand, says, devotee, but Maharaj, sometimes woman's mistreated. She's suffering, she's exploited. So she should divorce. Otherwise, how will she be happy? She'll not be happy in that marriage. So Jayadvaita Maharaj says, happiness comes from following your dharma. If you follow your dharma, you become happy. Because Krishna is happy. It won't come from adjusting your material situation. So now regarding happiness, sadness, your question is it predestined? I cannot answer that. It's a little deep. But what I can say is, but my understanding?
Mixture of both?
No. Does happy or sad, it's events are predestined. Events.
How we respond to that?
Yeah. No, that's up to...
That is free will.
Yes.
So how rich a person will be in his life.
Yeah, that is just...
So no matter how much
events.
work outside, he is...
Yeah, karma will come, this will come and so on. And we are told, just accept and go on. And those who don't accept, try to fight it, they'll suffer. Those who accept and go on, they'll be happy.
In Shastra, it's also recommended if you want a good wife, you worship this, that.
Yeah.
So that suggests that if you do some activity, you can change.
No. What happens is, you're drawing on karma of you. I heard this once, Gokul Prabhu once asked us. Actually, you're drawing on your same karma from a future or something, your own stock, which will mean that you'll suffer later. Similar thing, he says that just like someone is smoking, gives up through hypnotism. So how did that happen? That you give up the desire, the desire to sin. How does that go? Only by bhakti. I forgot now his answer. But he said it's not like that. It's not permanently. You're postponing the thing. Prayashchit means you cannot remove these things. Only bhakti can remove sins. Krishna only can remove sinful reactions. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
In this connection of prayashchit, if I have to officially say somewhere that prayashchit doesn't remove my past sins, but these are actually statements in Shastras where they say that you do this activity, your so many sinful reactions will go. So then if I have to say that, what should I quote as official proof that only bhakti can remove and no other thing can remove?
No, but what you're talking about, sinful reactions going, that is kind of bhakti. What will destroy your actions? Bathing in Ganga, going to a holy place, watering tulsi, yani kani chava brahma hatyadi kani cha, tani tani, pranashyanti, yeah, tulsi watering, destroy. These things destroy because they're devotees, this is connected to Vishnu. Prayashchit, there is nothing connected in this way to Vishnu.
No, what I meant is
That what, how to quote?
To make the statement that
Yeah.
prayashchit doesn't remove sinful reactions, it is only bhakti that removes.
Well, so where's the praman for that you're saying?
Some shastra, some
Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, surrender to me, I'll destroy all your sinful reactions. Huh? Of course, yeah, that's it. Yeah. That comes in the purport of text 1 of NOI, Nectar of Instruction.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah,
That elephant
yeah. That's there.
is what.
There.
But
That,
then quoting nectar of instruction.
No. It's a verse from Bhagavatam which comes there. Parikshit Maharaj is told that through prayashchit you can remove this. He said, no, you cannot. A thief will steal again. That root is not removed.
But even then, we are saying the tendency to sin is not removed. But it's not saying that the sinful reactions are not removed by doing that activity of prayer.
Yeah, that is not there.
Then
So what is the prama? I don't know, we can find it.
to officially quote from somewhere will be helpful.
I know jnana yogis also destroy sinful reactions. But their coot remains, avidya, therefore they can come back. They go to the Brahma Jyoti. It's, if you see, if prayashchit could remove sinful activities, then your subtle body will be dissolved. You will not take birth again. Jnana yogis, they destroy their sinful reactions. They go to Brahman. That's why when subtle body dissolves fully, only then you don't take birth again. So they're able to enter Brahman.
But
Coot is there, avidya is there. You know, the avishuddha buddhihi. And that is not purified. Therefore, they will come back because of that. If prayashchit could destroy sinful reactions, they will not take birth again. I mean, this is logic. I don't know the shloka, but this is the fact.
What I understood by prayashchit.
Oh, 1 minute. It's here in the purport. Prabhupada said a material action cannot destroy a material reaction. A material reaction is coming. Prabhupada said a material action cannot remove that. Prayashchit is a material action. It says in the purport, in this verse. Okay, again, praman is not from Shastra, it's from Acharya. You're saying?
Like, prayashchit we come to sattva guna, right? With the reaction, the gross reaction we were going to get, that will...
I don't know about prayashchit. I don't know about that statement. Maybe true, maybe not. I don't think so. Sattvagun, prayashchit. Sattva, what brings you to sattvagun? Associating with the sattvic people? Doing sattvic actions like studying Shastra, regulated life, eating sattvic food. This brings you to sattva guna. What? Pious activity. Does that bring you? Yeah? Yeah. Pious activity means like, example? Charity, buildings, hospitals, schools. Yeah. That brings you sattva guna, pious activity. Is it? I never heard.
that was because
Gita doesn't say that.
activities we do, that takes us to next life.
No, this life now, to bring it to sattva guna, I know if you eat sattvic food, if we follow Shastra injunctions.
It's more like if you are sattvikally inclined, then you will do pious activities. If you
I don't know about that. Maybe not. We can ascertain that.
But the whole point of varnashram is if you engage in dharma, you will slowly come.
That is because you're following Shastra. If you follow Shastra, you come to sattva guna. If you follow your varna, your ashram, and do the samskars, that also brings you up because you're following Shastra. Following high authority.
So prayashchit does not help us.
I've not heard of that. That prayashchit, you don't get a sinful reaction. Indra killed Vritrasura. He had to do prayashchit so that the sinful reactions don't come to him. He killed the Brahman.
So it's like it brings a regret in you so that you don't do the sinful action again.
You mean what's the point? Yeah. Oh yeah, it has its use. I mean, they have their use to bring you up, to gradually elevate you, finally to become a Vaishnava. That's the Shastra.
Atonement is kind of suffering. You suffer, so you realize that you should not do it.
Yeah,
It's like prison.
punishment.
Yeah. That is the point, yes.
One of the prayaschits I had.
This is going on, huh? Can we end it and continue? It's strange. Huh?
It's in connection with
People sit for Bhagavatam, then it opens into a conversation. Then. Okay, go on.
So, one of the prayaschits I had about is that if some unqualified person hears Shruti, then he should prayaschit is to put
Kill himself.
molten iron in his ear or something. For
Is this true?
no, this is the so then some of these prayaschits are very very graphic, and then
No.
to say that they practice to satoguna is seems a little far out. Sounds a little far.
We have to find. I never heard something like that. I don't think also. That's mine.
But for like a thief, it's like they'll cut his hand or tongue or something.
It will save him from the reaction. That's all. Yeah.
It's like even hellish punishment. People say that we forgot what we suffered in hell. So what is the point?
You learn, but you don't know. You forgot that you learned, but you learn. You change.
It's subtly there.
It's there. Somebody, there are people I know, you're telling, okay, do this, and you go and tell him and just lie. No, I'm not going to lie. Don't tell me to lie. I'm not going to lie. I cannot lie. Something he had, past life or hellish. There are people who are, they'll not sin. You remember the lesson, but not the memory.
So in that sense, can we say like it brings us to Sattva in that
What?
that you
Prayashchit.
Yeah, you will not, like it puts a impression in your mind by which you will not engage in sin again. In that sense, like hellish, even hellish punishment.
That's a long drawn,
Yeah.
some distant effect. Let's research.
Aim is to bring-
We have to find it out. Let's find it. Another thing he said about pious activity, these two things, let's find out whether they bring one. It's good for us to know. Yeah.
So you mentioned like it's like intelligence is this is a
Done.
like intelligence is affected by punāti. So more your intelligence is purified, means more your advanced.
Yes.
So Pramātma Maharaj says in
The more you're given independence.
says in marriage, just like Srila Prabhupada, he always knew what to do.
Yes.
He never hesitate towards the solution. And Krishna also says like he gives intelligence.
Dadami buddhi yogam.
Then on the other hand, we see examples where Gajendra, devotee, he's not so, because elephant is not having much intelligence. His example is given, he also got liberated, they got devotees of highest intelligence. So is this example of, is intelligence a measure of
Advancement.
advancement?
Many
Then
things.
In the examples of Gajendra and gopis, they are just speaking about the situation externally, but actually they are also intelligent because it's spiritual intelligence. When we speak.
So, yeah, the Gajendra was supposed to be in animal form. How did he get that intelligence? That's the question.
The question is intelligence a measure of I just gave all these things to this context.
It's more about street smartness, being able to get things done for the need of service. But some devotees, they might not have that so developed intelligence to what needs to be done.
Someone
for
might not
service.
be able to manage it.
But still,
Then Krishna will give it. No, I'm saying how this came about. I said that somebody wants to use his intelligence to come out of guna. I said, but your intelligence is contaminated, so don't rely on it. So check what Shastra is saying, what your authority is saying, Guru. This is the point. So now another point is there also, that the Guru, generally we are not given independence in spiritual life because of this point. There's strong check, but as people advance, they're given more independence. Guru sees, gives more independence, and the most independent person in Varnashram is the sannyasi, because he's supposed to be under Paramatma. So, how to measure? Can we give intelligence as a measure of advancement? No, I don't think necessarily. in one way, yeah, if someone you see, he's getting so much inspiration, he's speaking, what he's doing seems to be good, perfect, things are working and spiritually doing the right thing, right time, then it's a measure of advancement, definitely. But you can meet someone who's not maybe on that level, but Krishna is inspiring him in a different way. I mean, he's generally very pious and following his authority and all that. Because of that, he's advanced. His tendency to follow.
Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yoga means intelligence is required. That's why Krishna is speaking.
Yes.
So maybe it's a sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
The intelligence is a sign of advancement.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I think you're right. It is a measure because he'll not give until someone sincere wants to advance, then he intervenes.
But
it's thoughtful. I have to think about it. I can't answer immediately. Something like this. We have to remember some other things we read and heard. But maybe offhand, if you just think, clear intelligence is a measure of advancement.
Whatever comes situation, 100%.
Yeah. And when we say modes affect us, where are they affecting? They are affecting the mind. Therefore, you see someone in tamasic or rajasic, mind is affected. Therefore, he is going eating certain food, doing certain activities, associating with certain people. The contamination of mood happens in the mind. And you can say consciousness. But consciousness originally is pure. Nothing can touch consciousness. But the covering, mind, intelligence. What?
In Gita, mind.
Indiyana mano vidyar asya adhishthanam uchyate. Adhishthanam, the place of contamination is mind, intelligence and senses. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.